Welcome to Chat Cinema. I'm here with filmmaker Maziyar Khatam. His film, Baba, just premiered at the Sundance Film Festival. Congratulations. It was very well received. How's it going over there?
Great. I mean, I just came back from the festival, so resting a little bit, but it was a lot of fun, and seeing it on the big screen was absolutely amazing.
All right, let's get started. All right, so you're going to have to tell me first thing, and of course, I'm going to try to keep this spoiler free. Why did you choose a bit of an unsympathetic character for your film?
I mean, more. I would say more than a bit. I mean, like almost most of the characters in that film, I feel like, in a way, are unsympathetic. I mean, for me, I try to stay away from characters that are likable. I think that from my perspective, I think it's more interesting to delve into a character that's more unsympathetic, because there's just more to learn from a character like that. We get to kind of see, and in our film we get to kind of see this guy's life spiral out of control, and we get to see how like desperate he is, and in a way I feel like that kind of creates a little bit of empathy for him. And I just wanted to kind of stay true to it. I mean, it's based off my dad, and the film is kind of from my perspective in a way, and this is kind of how I viewed him. And the film has comedic moments as well, but it doesn't also stray away from some of the serious stuff. So I kind of wanted to balance that, and I think that for this film, we needed the character to kind of be like that, to be this kind of, he's darkly funny, but he's also making these choices that kind of make the audience just go, stop digging yourself deeper, stop digging yourself deeper. Like, in a way, it's like me and my team, we talk a lot about Greek tragedies and Shakespeare a lot, and like even if you go back all the way there, like Macbeth is not a redeemable character. He's not a particularly sympathetic character, but in a way he's so compelling to watch. And I feel like these characters that are irredeemable are, like, and now we have like characters like Tony Soprano, Walter White, who are like modern day versions of that. And I feel like people feel kind of like in a way, like it's watching like a car accident. Like it's hard to not watch the whole thing. Like it's almost this like you're not watching it in a Schadenfreudian way, but you're watching it in a way where you're hoping that they'll get out of it. Like you have some sort of hope, and I think that's what we wanted to accomplish with this film.
Okay, I'm going to follow. Let's follow. I'm going to follow up then. The dysfunctional relationships in the film. Now, were you worried about how people respond to that? I mean, all this dysfunctionalism coming at them in such a short period of time?
I mean, not really. No, I think I don't know anything else but dysfunctional relationships. Is there anything else? Is there other relationships? I don't. It's like it's.
Okay, too many dysfunctional relationships. How about that one?
I mean, like that's all I know. Really, that's all I know. And like with my family, and yeah. And to me, like, yeah, like this is a story I've been wanting to tell for a while. I think like it was very cathartic for me, like writing it. First of all, like it's not autobiographical, but it is personal. Like, like not all of that happened in a day, I can say that. And there was no weird guy with a painting, and all that. But this feeling that I had towards him, like it all started with me wanting to tell a story about a language barrier between a son and his father. And that is the main kind of theme I wanted to play with, because the father is not able, the father could ultimately solve all of his problems if he was able to speak English. He would be able to solve the problem with the landlord. He would be able to communicate better with his son. And I think that is the biggest thing in the film, is communication. Nobody understands each other. Like they really don't. They're all, and everybody's talking over each other, and everybody's talking over each other in different languages. And you as the audience are watching, like, can these people just sit down and talk? Because everybody wants something from everybody. The landlord wants the money from the dad. The dad doesn't want to get evicted. And the dad is trying to sell his ex-wife's painting. The son has sentimental connection to the painting and doesn't want the father to sell his mother's painting. And there's a weird guy who wants to steal the painting. And so I think for me, the biggest part of the film is communication, and that's something I wanted to talk about. And for me, like, communication has always been dysfunctional because in real life, nobody listens to anybody. Everybody wants something, but nobody listens. And I think that's ultimately what the film is about. And that's why it's so frustrating to watch. And especially the dad. And I think that also another big thing for me is, and why the film is so painful to watch too, is the film is ultimately about a son parenting his dad. And I think some people who've been through that can be really hard to watch. You're like, okay, some people who've either had to do that or they know someone who's done that. Because, for me, especially when you, I don't know if you've had it or if you've known someone that had it, when your parents separate, you sometimes feel like you're the mediator in it. And I've always felt like, and that's, I play the son in the film too. And that's what I always, that's what I always felt like, is that I'm always the mediator for my dad. Everywhere we go to a restaurant, he gets into a fight with the waiter. He goes, no, he counted the thing wrong. And I'm like, Dad, no. And I'm talking in Farsi and I'm also trying to calm the thing down. And that's ultimately what the film was about. That's kind of what I wanted to, I guess, echo.
Okay, now, no spoilers here. There's a power shift at the end. There's a power shift at the end. A loss of respect in one gesture. I don't want to tell anyone that final part just kind of hit me. Can you explain how you came up with that one?
I know what you're talking about. I mean, that happened. If I'm being real, that did happen. That is something that happened. Not proud of it, obviously, but I think it's interesting because when we watched the film at Sundance, people had such a different interpretation of what you're talking about. A lot of people were like, wow, he broke out of it, the son, such a positive ending for him, not for the dad. And I kind of looked at it and I'm like, no, it's kind of a sad ending if you think about it, because like the son had to resort to the gesture that you're talking about is not a good thing that he did. I would say, like, if I'm looking at it objectively, I mean, like, you should never have to resort to any kind of violence. If at any point, if you can, I mean, if you're defending yourself, but he did that in like a quick burst of anger. And like now looking at it, I go, oh my God, the son is tainted in a way. Like his character arc isn't great because he now in a way, like that gesture that he did is, like it's not good. Like that's not a good thing that happened to him. Like he snapped, and like you would almost hope for him not to turn out like the father character, and like, could he become like that? Could could his future potentially lead? Because the son now unleashed an anger that's almost like similar to the father. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I kind of viewed it. I kind of viewed it as a more pessimistic ending. But it's interesting that when people watch it, they were like, no, he broke out of it. He's free. He's like, that gesture is like a symbol of freedom. And I think that, maybe, some people who feel oppressed, that gave them that kind of cathartic feeling. But I kind of viewed it as a more, I viewed it as more like him being oppressed in a way by doing that. Like he actually lost, like he gave in to the darker side, like, for lack of a better word. And that's, to me, like I fear for the son's future.
Okay. Now, let me ask you something about the two directors, Anya and Miran?
Marin, yes.
Miran,
Yes.
yeah. Why did you guys have two directors on this project?
That's normally, like, even the last project that we worked on, we worked very closely together. I was considering directing it myself after we did our previous film, Bump, that was at Sundance last year. It was just too personal for me. I really couldn't. I felt like I would have slowed the project down, and those guys had such an objective view of it, and we really worked like really well together as this kind of like three-headed dragon almost. Like we kind of know how to tackle it. Marin is really good at kind of like working specifically with the actors. Anya's really good at seeing the bigger picture in terms of like each scene and what it needs. And then the three of us work really well in post-production. And I think because of how well we work independently, it just kind of complements each other because we're all able to kind of see it differently. Yeah, and I just think that like for this project, I feel like we needed that. And Anya, um, obviously, like this film deals with a lot of masculine and elements, and I think she was able to kind of give a different perspective, but also it was her decision too, which was really interesting to say, because we hear the mother's voice. She's like, let's never cut to her. We should never, ever, we should feel trapped and stay fully in her perspective and things like that. And so everybody just kind of bringing those different ideas and things like that. And bringing that really made like just kept elevating the film, all of those ideas. We've just all been working really closely together since our last project, and that's kind of like how we tackle it. Sometimes we switch roles, sometimes we do this and that. Like we love wearing multiple hats when we tackle a project.
Oh, that sounds very interesting. An interesting way of collaborating on a film. All right, so my last question: what are you working on next?
Yeah, so we have a feature film that we're working on, similar to Baba in our previous film. Very dark, very absurd. It deals with a real life event that happened. It's basically about this prank gone wrong that turns into a criminal investigation. And it's kind of absurd. It's dark. And when I was reading the real life story, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe, first of all, that this is not a film or a documentary or something. This is just absolutely bonkers. And I felt bad for everybody, but at the same time, there was those unsympathetic characters, or I'll say this, not redeemable characters that I like, that I feel drawn to, and kind of morally gray characters. And I was like, oh, this is really interesting. I would love to tackle this for my next thing. So I'm developing that right now, and hoping for that to be my first feature.
Congratulations. I hope we hear from you in the future. I have a feeling we will. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me on.